Radio Rahim here with Billy Joe Saunders. I'm on this side of the pond once again, man. It's good to see you. I haven't had a chance to catch up with you for almost a year now.
Long time. I've been hibernating, haven't I?
Yeah, you've had quite a few months here recently. Obviously, I missed your last fight, but getting even ready for that fight, there was so much controversy. You had to come through, the drug test issue and all of that. First of all, what was it like just in that time period, having to deal with those pressures and all the accusations and then get ready for a fight?
Do you know what? I'm very hard-skinned. It didn't really bother me. I mean, if you haven't done wrong, then there's nothing to be worried about, and that's the way I took it. I didn't do anything wrong at all. It's one of them that you go through bumps in life sometimes, and you can get stuck on them, or you can show what sort of determination you've got, come through them and become a better person and become to do great things. And I'm here now fighting for the super middleweight world title, 168 world championship next. So I put myself in a great position with a good team behind me, and we're ready to rock and roll.
On my side of the pond, and I'm certain here too, the Andrade fight was very anticipated. But people didn't recognize or understand the difference between what's permitted here and what's permitted there, and how you got, caught doing something here that is legal, but couldn't continue with the fight because of it. So just for the fans who didn't understand, can you explain the exact situation, why you say you've done nothing wrong?
Well, listen, if you take a nasal spray and, see, the VADA testing, in a way you can look and say that you should really be on top of these things and checking. But, it was what it was. I mean, out of competition here, it's not banned at all. I've been to Canada, I boxed all over the world as amateur as well. I've been on the Olympic drug testing program. They're all been good. It's just that one thing, and I failed one on the Wednesday and passed another one on the Saturday. So, for me, it was all a big blur. And, then the commission was even considering letting me box. Why are they even considering letting me box if I've done something so wrong? So, I didn't out myself. I swore at the commission over in where is it? Boston, Massachusetts. But listen, I've got unfinished business at middleweight. I will be back down. I will be back down to that weight, and I will be three-time world champion, but, all in good time.
Well, it's a very tough way to lose your title, and with Andrade still holding it, and the fight's been called for, it begs the question, why not next? Why is that not the title you're chasing right now?
Because, different circumstances. The deal. Before the split was on my side, it's on his side, and, there's no guaranteed after that what's going to happen. Okay, I'll come over and beat him. What's the plan? There is zero plan, because Golovkin and Canelo don't want to fight me. He's fighting Jacobs now. Canelo, good luck to him. Golovkin, maybe there's more of a chance now. He may consider fighting, but, there's no plan now. I've been world champion there, and there's zero plan. And I don't want to go back down there, win that title, then be looking around and who's next. You got all these American fighters over there, the Charlos and that. They all don't want to fight. They don't want no hard, tough fights. They just want to keep knocking bums over. They don't want no hard fights. So I'm now super middleweight. So I know there's Callum Smith, there's Chris Eubank, there's James DeGale. There's some big fights in America at super middleweight. There's some new floors for me to look at, and I can move back down if one of them really wants it. I can move back down to middleweight. So I'm just giving myself different options.
Well, there's the question that, as you well know, boxing fans are critical of everything. The question will be, can you make middleweight? Is that why you're moving to super middleweight?
Not at all. I'm in great shape now. As I stand here now, I'm weighing 13-1, and I always walk around, even at this time out 8-9 weeks before I make middleweight. It's the same sort of weight. So, I'm in a great position. I mean, I'm not really. You look at me, you say, well, he's more of a middleweight than super middleweight. Yes, I am, but there's sometimes that, great fighters have to take chances and move up. The fella I'm fighting, he's come down from heavy to cruiser to super middle, so he's strong, tough, game, but my skills should be on a different level.
Well, taking your name out of the equation of the middleweight division opens a lot of doors, I guess, for a lot of people. You seem to be a hurdle to trying to get to unify those titles. So, stepping away, I guess, looking at Canelo, Jacobs, what do you make of that fight?
I think that I'm happy for Jacobs. He's got the fight because he's been through a lot in his life, personal life, and he's getting a great payday. And maybe he could beat Canelo, but he's never going to get the decision. You're never going to get the decision with him unless you knock him out and he's on the floor for a minute or two, because Canelo is the only man they tried to rob Floyd Mayweather for. They give it a majority decision. So I feel sorry for him in one way because he's probably got the tools to beat Canelo. But will he? I doubt it because of the politics in boxing. Sometimes that's what stops fights from happening. That's what stopped me and Andre from happening at the minute, until I put myself in a better position. And, that fight the same. I really wish him all the best and I hope he does the job.
Well, not too long ago, Canelo got himself a strap at 168. So, assuming that you're successful on the 13th of April, you'd be in line to fight him again, maybe for the super middleweight title. You see that as a possibility, or is that something that could satisfy the urge to fight Canelo?
I mean, look, Canelo boxed for an interim WBA world title at super middle. I don't think he'd be interested in fighting me at super middle. I don't think his team's already said that me and him won't happen unless his promoter Oscar De La Hoya, and he's joined up with Daz now, is it? The Zone. Maybe if they get put under pressure to make a big fight, another big fight, maybe if they're under a little bit of pressure from the TV companies, maybe they could be pushed for the fight to be made. But I would love the fight, the same as I love the Golovkin fight, because they are the big names, and that's the names I wouldn't.
It's interesting what you say about how you feel Canelo gets decisions and whatnot. For your sake, do you still consider Triple G middleweight champion, or did Canelo beat him?
I personally think that the first fight that Golovkin won, the second fight was more of a draw than the first one. So in my view, that Golovkin is still the man with the belts.
You see that as a possibility? I mean, he hasn't picked a network yet. Maybe that fight can still happen for you?
Maybe so. Maybe so. There's some big deals out there for him now. Obviously, ESPN as well will obviously be interested, I reckon. And it's one of those. So I think that that fight. I don't know why the Golovkin fight didn't happen when I signed it twice. Maybe he used me as a bit of a goat to engage Canelo to sign the contract. But, it is what it was. But I'll be open to them fights.
And lastly, we're here with the big announcement, other than your comeback, is Tyson Fury signing with Top Rank, and ESPN, your mate, is moving over with promoters and networks. Makes it a bit more complicated, though, for the rematch we all are anticipating with Wilder. Have you had any discussion with him about it? Like, why put this hurdle in front of that fight?
Well, I chat to Tyson all the time, and we have this conversation, and I was one of the first that knew what was going on. But, if they want them fights, they got to go to Tyson now, because Tyson's walked away from that fight the hero. He entered as the villain and left as the hero. And, I think that if they really want to make them fights, they have to now bend down to Tyson and go, listen, what can we do, sir? How can we get it on? And if it means being on ESPN, so be it. If they really want the big fights, they'll have it there.
It'll be said that this deal is to avoid that fight. Like the rematches could have been made. Now it's likely not to be made.
See, boxing's a business, and to avoid it, if Tyson wanted to avoid him, he wouldn't have got in the ring with him in the first place. Tyson won every single round apart from the 2 knockdowns, and Tyson's only going to improve with more ring time and more ring rust gone. Tyson even now, he's not match fit. He was nowhere near match fit back then. He lost 10 stone and still dealt with him. So he's never going to beat Tyson. If he couldn't beat Tyson that night, he's got 0 chance of beating him.
And let me put your analyst hat on just a minute. Amir Khan's facing Crawford in New York in a couple months. Your countryman, how do you think that fight goes?
Listen, I'll talk straight when it comes to boxing. Crawford's one of the best fighters I've ever seen. I love watching him, big fan. Fair play to Khan. He's getting a few quid for it, but I think he's just he's just out of his depth here. But I would like to see him do the job, because obviously he's from this country and he's a fellow Englishman. But good luck to him. I wish him all the best, and try to get the job done. But Crawford's, he's on a different level.
In a perfect world, where does Billy Joe Saunders stand by the end of this year? What are you trying to accomplish in 2019 and put yourself in a position to be?
Do you know what? I'm going to do less talking and more showing. So I'm not going to answer that question. You'll look at the end of 2019 and go, he meant business.
Radio Rahim with Billy Joe Saunders. Welcome back, man. It's always a pleasure to watch your fight. Radio Rahim, Billy Joe Saunders.